Welcome to the Shulamite Podcast, an extension of Shulamite Ministries and Shulamite.com, with weekly interviews and teaching with author and speaker Martha Kilpatrick and hosted by John Enslow. This weekly podcast is a way to stay connected to the ministry. So come experience anointed messages, not giving just another method, but a living impartation.
We've been meeting in a loving circle, and we've been looking at the story of Jonah and the repentance of Nineveh and his cowardice and so forth. So we've had a good time, have we?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you just did the CD of the month, which is actually will come out in a couple months. Martha's been really full lately, and we've gotten a number of CDs already kind of lined up. I'm playing catch up right now, and but we ran out of podcasts, and so we wanted to do a podcast basically about this message, and it will. I'm sorry, it'll come out soon. It'll probably be a couple months, and it's probably going to be called Confrontation unto Life.
Ooh.
And so it was a real dynamic message. It was amazing because I think it's the call of the hour. I think it's where we're at as a body and as a church and as the bride of Christ.
I see the United States as Nineveh, that we are called.
And the church is been unwilling to go and confront.
So we are become not by evil now.
Now
because
it's chasing us.
Hunting
us down.
And it seems to be winning.
Yeah, it does.
And so we have
we're being oppressed by our oppressing our confrontation.
Yes. Oh, yes. And there are voices out there saying that the church failed. And I have said, no, but it's true. We as believers and individuals, we have refused to confront the evil that is in our midst.
But I have witnessed in living with you that is not the case with you. That has not been your pattern of life. You have I can't think of a single person in this room that you haven't impacted with a confrontation somehow, whether it was direct confrontation, whether it was being connected with someone who's been confronted, or and it's not like you go on with a checklist and you're looking for something
Villains.
wrong, and really looking for evil, looking under every bush for something. That's not the case at all. And I woke up this morning and I need a blog for tomorrow post, and so I wrote something about having Christ's view from the heavens. You can't. I basically say at the beginning, if you look at man from this earthly plane, if you look, on a horizontal plane, and you look at man, it'll take you under. It's devastating. It'll take you under. There's so much brokenness, deception, evil. It'll take you under. But God calls us to look from above down on all of humanity. And I believe that that's what you've done. You have literally, you've gotten with him, and he looks down upon the people. And it's the same thing with Jonah and Nineveh. Jonah was looking at them on a horizontal level through the plane. He was looking through their past, through the cruelty of what they had done to the Hebrews and the Jews. They were awful. They were disgusting, barbaric people. They needed to be wiped off the face of the earth because they were absolutely heinous. The level of their cruelty in warfare was just disgusting. And I did a lot of research when I put that in my book. I did a lot of research about what Jonah was fighting, why Jonah would say no to God. And he was offended. He was offended by the fact that these people were so grotesquely evil. And they had, it's like 9/11, that you have these evil people that literally blow our buildings up, shake our entire foundation, and hurt our spirits, and then we're supposed to go and love them. So it was a very similar. His was even worse because, they were horrible. They were horrible people. The things that they did were horrible. It's not even something that you can even say. It's so grotesque. And that's what his resistance was. I would rather die than go and bring mercy to those people that have done that to me and to my people.
Wow.
And so God said, I want you to look at it from my view. I'm looking at these evil people. Yes, they've done all kinds of stuff. But see, there was also an amazing part of the story that the reason why they were done that way was because of their own rebellion. It was a response from God to bring that wrath against the Jews because they had turned their back on God, and Nineveh was the very tool that God was using because he saw them also from above. He was using them as a tool to scourge them, to hurt them, to wound them because of their rebellion and their resistance to God. So you lose that point and you just see their abuse, and their cruelty, and you don't see the fact that God was using them. So,
wow, you did the history, and I'm so grateful. That just adds such depth to the story.
I love it. I love it, and I put it in the book. It's probably in the Sovereign Touch. Yeah, I think it is in Sovereign Touch, not in the Great Exchange. So Sovereign Touch. So that's in there. And I literally looked through commentaries. I went through historical records and of what went on. So so now we're in this position that we have to look at people in everywhere from his view. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've seen you do. You have love and vision for people, and you come into their life and you minister that love and vision, Christ's own vision, Christ's own love to people. And when they refuse it, absolutely refuse it, the Lord comes in the same view and brings the confrontation. And I know that it has cost you greatly to do it. I know that it has been one of the most painful things because you do love. Your heart is tender. You've got a motherly heart, and you're so tender and you're so loving, and you desire often our wholeness and healing and connection with God more than we have. And you've pushed us towards that. But how, at a certain point, the wooing no longer is the way. The hunter comes. And when the hunter comes, it's awful. I mean, I've watched you do it where I've seen the Spirit of God come over your face, and I've been scared to death. I've been like, dear Jesus, what is that? And he told me exactly what it was. And well, when you confronted one person, I didn't want to look. It was in front of all of us, because this person lived in rebellion and hatred and bitterness, and had been loved and loved and loved and loved and corrected but then they just refused. They would not see. And then you rose up. I smelled it come before we ever went to that meeting. I smelled it coming. I was like, oh dear God, this is coming. And so when you rose up, I looked at your face, I said, okay, and I got on my face. And God said, look. I said, I don't want to look. I don't want to. He says, look at her face. He said it both to me and Don Nelson. Both of us looked.
Got on the floor with me.
I looked and I saw the fire of God in your eyes. I saw the fury of God. And I said, what am I looking at? What am I looking at? Because, I mean, it was like fireballs in your eyes. And I said, what am I looking at? And he said, this was the indignation that Moses had when he came down and he saw the revelry and the idolatry and the grossness, and he's holding these beautiful tablets that this beautiful God had just written. And he looks and he says, "How you couldn't just wait? You just couldn't wait just a couple days for me? You had to go and start whoring yourself over with idols, and you're gross." And he threw him down. He was so mad. He threw him down. He couldn't take it. And then he got himself collected, I guess, and went back up the mountain and had the whole dealing with God. I can imagine it didn't break his heart, smash his heart. He had just been with the most holy thing you could ever be, to see face to face with God, where he's handwriting with his finger on tablets. And then you come and you see whoring and vileness, and it broke him. But the rage, I don't think it was Moses as much. I think it was God's rage. And I've seen that in your face, and but all this to say, I've also seen the incredible fruit, because everyone in this room, well, most of us in this room, have been confronted and have been saved by the confrontation. It was life. It was a life preserver. We wouldn't hear it in the wooing and the love, and then he came with confrontation, because it was almost like you were grabbing our arm and pulling us out from a speeding down bus. Get out of the way. And it wasn't, oh, come on, let's get out of the way of the bus. No, it's grab and yank. But it has been fruitful. Many, 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 many people have had the fruit in their life of confrontation, of your confrontation, of his confrontation through you. And yes, we've had those that refuse the confrontation and are gone. They're not here anymore. And so I say all this just to kind of preface Joan's story and her testimony of this very thing. And so, Joan, I want you to share your story.
There seems to be a wonderful club. The name of it is We've Been to the Belly of the Whale.
Martha asked me to share my story, and it's really pretty simple. I'm somebody that had to be thrown out of the boat. I was someone that needed to be separated out because I was causing harm to the body, to this ministry. And God knew my heart. God knew exactly where I was and what I needed. And I can't tell you how grateful I am. I don't have words of gratitude for how good God was to put me out. I needed it. I didn't understand how evil I was. I didn't see my evil. And I had a long period of being out of the boat. But I praise God for every day of it, every minute of it, because he saved my soul. And in saving me, he saved the folks here that I so love, that I was really hurting and killing without knowing it. So I just thank God for this story and for the gift of separation, because separation to me is for salvation, and it was for everyone's salvation. It didn't just save the men in the boat, for which I'm grateful for, but it saved Jonah. Everyone got saved, and God is such love. And we don't really know what love is, but the story of Jonah, to me, from my own life, I can say, is a story of love and grace and mercy and redemption. And I thank God for Martha's willingness to love God enough and love me enough to say, you have to go, in love. And really, she just let me go into my choice. I had already left. My heart was gone. It was not with him. And for the sake of all, especially me, she had me leave. And I'm so grateful for it. And she didn't do it easily. She did it tearfully, and there was lots of grief on her side and mine. But it was redemptive, and I praise God for her willingness to just love him enough to do it. And may we all come to the place of loving him enough and loving someone else enough to say no. No to the evil.
Thank you, John.
We hope you've enjoyed the Shulamite podcast. For all the latest from Shulamite Ministries, please visit us at shulamite.com, where you'll find Martha's daily devotions, posts from getalongwithgod.com, and the online library of all of Martha's writings. At shulamite.com, downloading the free Shulamite app is easy, and livingchristianbooks.com is only a click away. Thank you for joining us on this journey to discover a God worth knowing.